Hi, I'm Melissa Vance with the Wayne County Area Chamber of Commerce, and I'm excited to have with me on this episode some contractors in our community doing construction, building some beautiful projects, and glad to have you join us on this episode of Chamber Chat. So welcome to Chamber Chat. Thank you for being with us. And it's my pleasure to have with me today Brian Ballinger from Whisenhut Construction and Dan Stamper from Thor Construction and Carroll Electric. And we have been talking over the last couple months about all of the amazing projects that we have going on in Wayne County and in the surrounding areas. And we just have a lot of talent when it comes to building and electrical, interior design, architectural, you name it, Wayne County's got it. And you know, a long time ago, I think we were looking to Indianapolis or Dayton for these big projects. And it's just exciting to see local people building some amazing structures. So Dan, tell us a little bit about your company, how long you've been in business, where you're at.
Carroll Electric was started in 1969 by Pat Carroll. I bought in the company in 75, bought all of it in 77. Started Thor Construction Company in 87.
Okay.
So that's pretty much how that cycled through.
So you've been in the business for quite a while.
A little while.
You've learned a lot of things and one of the most talented people I know.
It has come to the point where I'm now the senior person in construction. I'm not happy about that, but that's the way it is.
We'll just think of that in a good light. So, and then Brian, what about you?
Yes, I started in construction work in 1990. Shortly thereafter, started my own small company. In 1995 was the first year that I performed a subcontract project with Keith Whisenhut, who is the former owner of Whisenhut Construction. I purchased and acquired the company in July of this year.
Okay.
So we're really excited to expand and looking forward to the challenges and opportunities that are before us.
Great. So when you thought about doing construction, why Richmond?
Well, why Richmond? Well, it's where I've been born and raised. You know, my earliest recollection, my mom can testify to this, you know, finding the junk nail can, a hammer and a board, and you start, when Dad's not watching, you grab the circular saw and you just start making things. So I guess it's kind of in my blood, but I have no intentions of ever moving and love this area. In fact, I think there's a lot of exciting things going on.
There really are. You've been doing a lot of things, and probably things that people drive by every day and have no idea that they were built by someone local.
Sure.
Like all the Wetzel facilities out on the east side.
Right. We've done 3 of the 4 dealerships. We will be doing the Honda dealership this coming year, but we started with the Chevrolet dealership, then the Ford dealership, most recently the Chrysler dealership. They
look amazing. The transformation out there is just, it seems like we just have moved into a totally sleek, modern looking corridor.
Right.
It looks fabulous.
Thank you.
And then you've also been doing a lot of work over at Earlham on the west side of town.
Yes. Keith has had a relationship with Earlham for over 40 years. Most recently, we were a subcontractor on the Visual Performing Arts Center. It's a fabulous building. If anyone hasn't had the opportunity, I'm sure they'd be glad to give you a tour. The performance hall it's astounding.
It's stunning. It's really stunning.
The acoustics are incredible. The architects did a fantastic job on design, and We have some fantastic carpenters locally that were really able to show their talents.
And then, lastly, all the way on the other side of the county, near Cambridge City, Hagerstown exit, you're doing another project.
Yes, the Recovery Works Drug Rehab Facility. It's a rehabilitation center. We should have it finished within 2 to 3 weeks, and it will be up and running.
That's great. That's a big place. How many square feet is that?
It's 16,000 square feet, 32-bed facility.
It's great, and such a needed thing for our community, really is. So it's exciting. I want to talk a little bit about, some of the things that we've been talking about off camera and in some of our committee meetings, and that's about, workforce development. And how do we capture the students that are graduating from high school that may not be destined for a 4-year degree, or maybe that's just not their passion.
Right.
They want to do something in the construction arena. How do we go about capturing them? Talk about some of the things that you guys have been working on.
Well, I think first of all, we need to change the message. Students, and even, I've been out of school actually 30 years now from high school. Even in that time, the attention and the focus was always, if you're going to succeed, if you're going to have a productive life, you have to have a 4-year degree. We were taught that. In fact, I was just speaking with your daughter. She said the same thing. We just get that pounded into our heads. Education is very important, but many students, I think, are falling through the cracks where we're not really giving them the message that it's okay to enter the trades. It's okay to enter a job or a type of career that, yes, we're going to ask you to use your mind as well, but we need you to also use your hands and develop skills that are going to allow you to be very productive.
Absolutely.
And there are many opportunities available now.
And that doesn't mean that you won't eventually end up in a leadership role. Very, very likely they could end up in situations like both of you where you're owning your own company.
I got out of high school and I started an apprenticeship, electrical apprenticeship. The chance came along for me to own part of the company. It was a no-brainer. I knew at least I could make a paycheck for myself. So I did not have college available to me.
Right.
So a lot of people are better at practical application, on-the-job training type stuff.
Right.
So
and that's okay. You're right.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely okay. There are people that, that want to pursue the 4-year degree or a graduate degree or a doctorate, and we need those people. But we need people of all skills. We're made differently for a reason. But having said that, there's some really fantastic programs at the K-12 level, but also at the higher ed level through places like Ivy Tech. They have
Right.
a great program where you can learn some of the skills that you need to transition into construction or contracting.
what they have, for the most part, does not fit our construction needs.
Okay.
We need actual trade schools.
Okay.
We need, in our situation, being open shop, Associated Builders and Contractors.
Okay.
You almost need to join that. But we need them to come to Richmond to set up a school that would teach carpenters, electricians, heating. We need to make that happen too, so that we can take people from high school that think they want to be an electrician, run them through the school, let them get a full fledged and approved apprentice certificate, that they went through it.
Right.
They have to be trained in that respect. That's book training, knowing how to calculate and figure.
Right.
But then the on-the-job training at the same time you're going to school is the most important to me.
Right.
Right.
Because I'm a practical application guy. I watch it done one time, then I can do it.
Sure.
That's the construction
Sure.
where on-the-job training works best.
So if there are people watching now that have students, or maybe they are a student that wants to consider construction as a career, what should they do? What's their next step?
Well, I would love the opportunity to speak with them. They could contact us at Whisenhut Construction. If they feel like they want to enter a specialized trade, Ivy Tech would be a good source. But again, Danny touches on a very good point. We need to develop our trade programs. Thankfully, we have the local building program here at Richmond. I'm planning to extend opportunities to young men, and I'm not sure, there might be women, young ladies as well.
Either.
But to offer internship programs and begin developing apprentice programs as well to help fill that gap.
Right from Richmond High School.
Absolutely.
Or the other county schools if they have such programs.
Right. One thing I might add, Melissa, our average tradesman in the United States today is over 50 years old. And for so many years now, we've been pushing this message that you're not going to excel, you won't be successful if you don't pursue something that requires a 4-year degree. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm against education, that's not it at all, but I just want to put out the message that there are so many opportunities, and as our economy continues to grow, as our businesses grow, we need good, solid, trained workforce that's going to be able to help take us into the next decade or two.
Right. And even if there are students maybe at IU East or another school locally that is already taking some classes, maybe it's business or entrepreneurship, they can take all of the things that they learn in those programs and apply them to working in the construction arena as well. Obviously, they need the hands-on training to go along with that, but some of those things are applicable, you know, if they get into one arena and say, you know, I love construction, maybe I can apply the things that I'm learning from a business perspective. So
I've never found any greater satisfaction than watching and actually putting my hands on a building or
Right.
watching it come to completion.
right.
You're right. I
There's
think that's
nothing
why
like
I think that's why we do it. It's
Right.
it's the love and passion for it.
You know, you guys probably both know, but I grew up with, my dad was a full-time contractor, and I remember being a little girl on the construction site and exactly that, looking up and thinking, my dad just built that, and how awesome is it? I mean,
Right.
so satisfying. Especially then when you're able to look at places like the Earlham Performing Arts Center and say, I had a hand in that. That is just awesome. Now, we were talking also earlier about some of the transition and where we used to be with contractors and the availability of services in Wayne County, and how the availability of those is declining, creating a greater demand for you, but
Right.
also taking workers outside of Wayne County. And I know, Danny, you did
Yeah,
some research
I
on
did
that.
I did some research, a 15-year research deal. Back in 2002, this takes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different categories of contractors. In 2002, we had 158 contractors. Going into 2017, we have 103. That's 55 contracting firms that are gone in 15 years.
That
All
blew
those
my
workers
mind.
have not been assumed or consumed by the remaining contractors. So obviously there's a problem here, and that problem is lack of work, but also lack of buy local consideration,
Right.
of which you know that I'm
A proponent of, yes.
One of the
Well,
spokesmen.
And so, I mean, why do you think that those contractors have left or gone out of business?
well,
Because the work's not here.
lack of business.
Yeah.
And when I say lack of business, our community can almost fuel our own contractors if they bought local, if they put an extra emphasis on buying local.
Right.
Some of them have. Cope, we're just finishing now. made the extra effort. And early on, they were going to go out of town.
Right.
And they had second thoughts.
Right.
All of it stayed local.
And they actually just won the Buy Local Award.
Well, great for them, because they
2016
deserve it.
for that
Right.
purpose.
But I remember back when we did the Boys and Girls Club, they made extra effort that every contractor was local, that they could.
Right.
And they put this thing in the newspaper, use of local contractors has benefits. I don't know if anybody ever remembers that or not. Not only will the young people of Richmond be well served by the new building under construction by the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County, but people of their parents' and grandparents' generation are helping put it up. Nearly all the contractors, subcontractors, and suppliers for the new building are from the Richmond and surrounding areas. Prime contractors Thor, Mechanical is Myers, ProTech on the sprinkler system, Carroll Electric, and 15 other firms. There's been a conscious effort made to use local firms. This helps the local economy by providing employment for many people. Those people shop often at local businesses, so the money turns over in the community. Hiring local companies helps them pay local taxes, and in turn, the government provides school and services for local residents. It also helps provide the profit from which local firms can support good causes, including the Boys and Girls Club. To the club's benefit, local firms often are more responsive than out-of-towners if there is a problem that needs to be fixed once the building is complete. And that is true. Other not-for-profits and public groups should make the same effort. Instead of sending the construction profits off to a distant corporation, efforts such as that being made by the Boys and Girls Club help make Richmond community stronger. By using local firms, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Wayne County is setting an example of good citizenship that other groups should follow as often as possible when public building projects are undertaken.
Right.
There are some that do that.
Right.
And there are some that are not good citizens when they don't do this.
It's,
And,
we shout from the rooftop, and it's exciting when we have a new manufacturer come in or when we have an existing business that expands their workforce, offering new jobs to the area. But when jobs are created by construction companies like your own, we don't always know about those, and we don't always sing those
Right.
praises quite as loudly because
Right.
they're more project by project, and but it's huge. And if we could keep that group of skilled laborers working,
Right.
then, like you said, it just
helps
kind of
fuels
fuels
our local
the
economy.
economy.
One thing I'd like
Absolutely.
to add to what Danny has stated, this will sound rather ironic, but as a commercial and industrial contractor located in Richmond, Indiana, you would think that Danny and a few others of the commercial contractors in this area, that they would be my primary competition. In fact, they're not. My competition comes from Indianapolis and Dayton.
correct.
In fact, when his company excels, I grow as well, and vice versa. So I want and love to see when our local contractors are successful, because we're pulling one another along in the same direction, which then translates into our community and our workforce, the workers that go home and spend time with their families that support other local businesses. To me,
Right.
that's what it's really about, helping serve one another.
Because you were talking about before the show that you often do work together because your strengths, there's a little bit of overlap, but then
There is.
there's other things too, like Carroll Electric,
Carroll Electric, that's
and
our forte, and his is interior work, but we're both capable of project management and general construction work as well. So he bids interior packages and has done for us forever. And likewise, we bid electrical to him.
Right.
And once in a while we get a job,
right. And we're not asking people to stay local and really kill their budget or make it hard on their business to thrive, we're asking them to consider local contractors who are extremely skilled and have the qualifications to do a job well and bid it competitively.
Exactly.
To stay local.
There are two areas to that. One, we have to be competitive, and secondly, we have to be capable.
Right.
And it's our jobs as leaders of our companies to make sure that we have the capabilities and the staff in place and the workforce that can compete with the larger firms.
Right.
It challenges us, but I'm driven by that.
Did you know that we had actually a declaration, November is actually Buy Local Month?
Yes.
Did you know that? That was November 2010 when Sally
Right.
and Wayne County Council and the Chamber did that. Probably very few people know that we do have a Buy Local Month.
We do talk a lot about the Shop Small Saturday, but we don't really talk as loudly about the Buy Local Month. But you're right.
And I could point out to you, this Buy Local thing has to start at the top. City government, county government has to figure out how they can keep this work local. In their conception of things is everything has to be bid out. Not so. There's ways around that. And, you know, they should be asking people how to do that. I think they're just now getting it a little bit. At least county council, I think, is getting it. They've
Right.
just done some things to make this work stay local that they're producing right now.
Great.
So I think they're getting it finally. But there's actually things in both EDC contracts with people and our own Richmond City Code that talks about employment of locals and minorities in construction.
Okay.
It's there.
Well, it makes
And you know what?
sense. It makes sense.
About
that-
halfway through the sentence, both of them, it reads like, you people need to look at using local and so forth and so on, and you promise to and all that. And then it gets down here and says, however, if you don't do it, it's okay. I mean, if you read it, that's what both of them say.
Okay.
And that's not enough teeth.
Right.
So even though the EDC is doing great,
Yeah.
they're not negotiating in depth. They're covering everybody except the construction worker.
Well, there are really enough people in the construction arena in town that they could
Jesus.
bid it out and bid it out all locally, which is
Well,
you know,
a lot of it can. And then a lot of it's so big that it has to be a big, maybe out-of-town contractor. Okay, what happens? Right here, you know, of course there are times when it makes sense to hire the best company for the job regardless of where it's located. And sometimes that's going to mean hiring an out-of-town, out-of-state firm. But if that firm has a special expertise or service, instead of giving it the entire contract, request that the firm partner with a Wayne County company. So a portion of the job's taxes and benefits stay in Wayne County. Not very hard.
right. Right. Very true.
It's always made me a little upset with people on the EDC side, I love them all, and council, city, that they do not put forth a little extra effort to figure out how to do this to keep work local.
I
And give
think
us another 5 years and maybe how many more contractors are we going to lose?
Well, I think it's good to keep the conversation going,
Right.
and keep the people talking about let's stay local. And I really appreciate what both of you do in making our community more beautiful. I appreciate the fact that you're reinvesting your dollars, not just in shopping here and living here and going to eat at restaurants here, but reinvesting in nonprofit organizations, reinvesting in projects like the Centerville Playground and the Del Harris Dream Court. And I just know there are things like that that happen all the time that people just don't really know. But I just want to say thank you for you both being here, for what you do, for your willingness to work and develop
Sure.
the next generation's workforce, and and to stand for things that you believe in regards to keeping our city vibrant.
What I believe in is Richmond, Indiana.
Yes.
Right.
Part of that is buy local.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's buying a car. I have screamed just as loud when they didn't buy cars here. I'm a Richmondite. It's all about Richmond. I'm just a part of it. I'm doing my part. I wish others would do theirs.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being with us
Thank
today.
you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Brian, tell us your website in case people want to get in touch with you.
Sure, it's WCIRichmond.com.
And Dan?
Thor-construction.net.
Okay, great. Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, next with me, I have my coworker, my partner in crime, Ed De La Paz. Thanks for joining me, Ed.
Well, thank you for having me.
We just wanted to talk a little bit about the annual dinner that just ended.
Yes, we end up just wrapping that up. Long process getting that going, but it was amazing. Really good turnout. We had some amazing volunteers. So definitely a big thanks to all the volunteers this year.
Yes. I mean, the ACES committee is what we call them, the Awards, Celebrations, and Events Committee for the Chamber. They put in so much work. That entire week, they're out at Coleman Center with me doing crazy things that I asked them to do. Whitewater Construction doing crazy things that I asked them to build, and they're just fantastic as well. And then we just wrapped up a great year with Kathy Cruz Uribe from IU East as our board chair.
And she did an amazing job this year.
Just want to say thank you to Kathy. She's just a fantastic lady and leader.
Yeah, this is my first year at the chamber, and she was there a lot of times. Any questions, any problems, any concerns, she was definitely available, and she really helped us get through the year.
With transitions, so she's wonderful. And then incoming is Brad Van Vliet, our 2017 board chair, and he really is excited about leading us through this year and doing some things that we haven't done before. So
Definitely.
Looking forward to having him as well.
Oh yeah, bright future.
Well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next month on Chamber Chat.